Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, classmates. So, by the way, I'm back. I'm Julius Cesar Betoy, and I will be discussing the conflict theory. I have given here the picture. So, what are your views? What are your idea about this picture? It talks about, um, or have you ever wondered there is a divide in a society between the privileged and those who are not? Someone who is rich versus someone who is poor. This is conflict theory by Karl Marx. Karl Marx, he is a German philosopher, political theorist, communist, and journalist and revolutionary socialist. Karl Marx believed had always two groups. We have the oppressors and oppressed, and let's talk about conflict theory and how they operate. So conflict theory depicts on struggles because the limited resources and unlimited resources. Nagwonder ta nga nganong naay conflict theory. What are the impacts in the society, in the community, institutes, and also in our family? So conflict theory is inevitable, right? Conflict theory is dili siya malikyan. It's because it's our own human and natural behavior, attitudes. Nadyo ni sa isa ka community, isa ka society nga naadyo'y conflict. Conflict, it is not goods or good or bad. Conflict is an unavoidable phenomenon. Of course, conflict is dili na to malikyan sa usa ka pamilya na adyo'y argument, sa usa ka pamilya kay na adyo'y defense, or sa usa ka schools na ay i-defend or naa kay arguments. But when conflict do arise, so conflict arise when daghan ang atong wants kaysa sa needs, or needs available resources. It is not just like tangible, like sa mga goods, sa mga pagkaon. It could be the power. It could be time, positions. These are the atong paghisgutan. Further, the never-ending competition, these finite resources give rise to conflict. Competition also part of conflict theory as well. Kay when you have power and you don't have the power, syempre magwan naamjud na yung mga tao nga mo go on, mo go forth sa kanang I will compete for them, for us to be rise, para kami na pud ang mo taas. Napoy uban nga maniguro nga sakto lang, but they have money na sila power. In conflict theory, this sees society as a system where different groups constantly compete for resources, power, and influences, of course. It emphasizes the inherent tension between these groups, especially those with unequal access to the resources. What is this? So, did you know that in 19th century, in Europe was a capitalist in a society wherein there is an upper class called bourgeoisie, or the rich class. These are the bourgeoisie, were the minority of population, and there is a poor lower class called proletariat, or proletariat were the majority to the population. So I've give the PPT. So in the picture we have the proletariat, the bourgeoisie, and the how they operate in the society. You might think that the majority would have more sway over the society. It's because dagan sila. But it was the bourgeoisie because because they have the power to produce their own factory, 'di ba? Ang mga these are the owners, bourgeoisie, these are the owners or sila ang nagtag-iya sa usa ka factory. Bourgeoisie was dependent on the laborers. These are the proletariat, the lower class or the poor lower class. These are the laborers. Sila ang maglihok. Sila ang mag-produce that people need is sold out to produce earning living. So the proletariat are depending also on the bourgeoisie. If kaning duha, kung makathink ka nga, ang proletariat kay maglisod kay nganong gamay rag sahod, dili same ang ilang wavelength of earnings or ganahan na balik sila muhawa kay tungod gamay ra ang sahod. But no, if wala ang proletariat, walay mo trabaho sa factory, it means the factory will not functions in the society. If wala pod ang bourgeoisie sa society, walay maga-manage sa proletariat or sa laborer. That's what mag-need jud ang usa ka society og cycle. Kung naay mo earn og money, napoy mo trabaho sa money. Kung naay mag-manage sa money, naapoy mo gunit sa money. Naay for example, the managers are the one to control, of course, to manipulate sa mga buhaton within institute. And these laborers or these are the proletariat, sila ang maga-produce or sila ang magahimo. For example, in the classroom management, if wala ang students unsay diktahan sa teacher, di ba? Dili siya ma-cycle, dapat cycle siya in order for the classroom management will be balanced. So the proletariat had only their labor and they were dependent on the factory owner to get paid, of course. But this was not just one-sided dependence. The factory owners also depend on the laborers. Laborers to sell, making a dependent on the factory. But this was not one-sided dependence. The factory owners were also dependent on the workers to work in a factory. Without them, as I said earlier, dili mag-work ang factory. They would not, because bourgeoisie kay dili sila mo admit nga mulus ang ilang power. Of course, kay kung wala ang mga proletariat, dili mo function ang usa ka factory. So next will be here is Karl Marx believed that economic inequality as a fuel for change. So there was a significant inequality between the factory owners and the workers. It was this economic inequality that Karl Marx believed would fuel in the society. As the working class realized they were exploited, they would unite to create class consciousness. This class consciousness makes the think that dapat need jud siya ma-balance ang rich class o ang poor class. Dapat same wavelength ang ilahang class consciousness. Karl Marx believed this class consciousness is a kind of getting everyone on the same wavelength so they can be stronger and overthrow those capitalist status quo. So, dapat para mahimog balance ang usa ka factory, dapat na ang same wavelength jud tanan da. As I've said na oppressed and those oppressors nga dapat ang treat nila sa mga oppressed is or in treat nila sa mga laborers is dapat dili jud cruel or dili unfair, dapat fair tanan, no bias, kay para dili makagain og competition o conflict in the society. Next will be what are the assumptions or what are the certain to happen or what are your beliefs in assumption. First is the competition. This competition includes the power, land, commodities, money. It gives a rise in competition, but in an absence of competition, there will be no of course, if there is no competitions in the society, there were no arguments, there were no conflicts. Kung dili lang magpalabuanay, dapat na adyoy mapahibugsanon in order for the society to grow, to progress. Next will be the revolution. Revolution is very important because conflict among social classes gives to rise to revolution. People change because of competition and not to be adaptive to dynamism. People having low status aspire to be on the other side, so they change for betterment. It is well said that scarcity is a mother of innovation, hence it acts as a catalyst of revolution. It means ang mga ang mga um, ang mga tao in the revolution, they have to adapt in a dynamic. So for the change, for the betterment, dapat jud ang mga tao in conflict theory na adyoy magpahiubos, na may uban god nga mga dato educated pero man lamang gyapog mga tao imbis sakto na unta ilahang life, sakto na ang ilang barog status, sakto na unta ilahang ang foundation, but these are the kaning mga unfortunate noon nga mga wala not all but dili walay educational attainment or educational degrees, mao na magpakumbaba, mao na makasabot. So it means kung kaning mga tao nga mga musabot, syempre dapat ma-influensahan pod unta katong mga upper or mga high status in order for the society to be balanced. Next will be the war. War results unification of new rules and regulations in the society. We can say that it cleanses the society by breaking the old social structure that caused conflict and destructions. So war could it be? Kay before, iba sa una katong ang old rules pa nga dili pwede og votation sa mga babae, wala pay gender equality, so ang mga babae luoy before. But with the help of the war, siguro mabago ang palisiya ba? Kung pwede na siya equality, pwede na tanan makavote, pwede na na legal age ang makavote. Mao ni ang purpose pod sa war. It could be a great for them and it could be not, but these are the assumptions. In World War II, the war generally occurs when it only way left to resolve the issue between the groups. Conflict theorists consider was a reset in society. Why? Because it brings sudden changes in a society. So World War II or war, maka-change jud sa policy in the society katong mga cruelty, violence, ma-change jud na siya. It because na may new rules, new president, new institutes, new governments. So mabag-o jud na siya. However, this is not entirely true as war can lead to unification but only for the short period because the conflict and society will still arise in one or one way another because naman jay arguments, naman jay mo oppose, napoy mo defend, napoy mo mo agree sa mga ideas or perspective in a policy. So in conclusion, the only solution is to have revolution at breaking the politic and economic domination by higher class and recognizing or organizing society with collective ownership and a mass democratic control if they only were this equal and fair. maybe these things could be successful for all there would be any more struggle. Well, if balance lang jud ang tanan og same wavelength tanan, same equilibrium tanan, ang tao jud mahimog prosperous og naay better future. If ang tao lang jud maka-understand or maka-consider sa every contributed in the society, wala jud conflict ma-arise. Wala kung ang tanan mo sabot, kung ang tanan makabalo, dili lang ta may mo close-minded kundi open-minded ta sa mga butang. That's all, ma'am. Thank you for the conflict theory.